Yes guys, my name is Junaid and welcome back to another video. I'm a second year medical student studying at Newcastle Uni. So for today's video, I thought I would just cover the things I wish I knew before I started med school. So I'm going to leave the video timestamps in the description. So if you don't want to watch the whole video, then just skip to any part you think you'll find useful. So number one, to kick things off, I didn't really anticipate just how much self-directed learning there would be. I remember really sort of finding it difficult from, adjusting from A levels to med school, and at the start I was really sort of struggling. The worst thing you can possibly do is trying to memorize everything. It's literally an impossible task, because I remember at the start I felt like I had to learn every single thing on every lecture slide, and I just sort of felt overwhelmed and overworked. The best sort of advice I can give to you guys is spend the first few weeks, if not months, just focusing on finding out what works for you, because everyone's going to study a different way. Find what works for you and just keep on making mini refinements until you sort of feel like you've perfected your study technique. Just remember, you're a medical student, not a doctor, so you don't have to know things to the level that doctors do. And I think the best sort of advice I can give is just sort of focus on passing your exams at med school, and don't really worry about the knowledge that you have to know 5-10 years down the line. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of stress. So moving on to point number 2, do not be that person that makes medicine their entire life, because you will gas out and you will lose motivation. I think it's so important to remember that you can have a life outside of medicine. You can definitely do things on the side if you make the time for them. And speaking from my own experience, I remember making a conscious effort to make time for other things. So I started going to the gym more. I also picked up a new sport, which was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I also bought this camera so I can take a few pics for the gram. It's so important to have those outlets where you're able to take some time away from medicine and just sort of de-stress. And I think that that's sort of key to developing yourself as a well-rounded individual. And it's also equally as important to remember that time doesn't pause at medical school. Life goes on, and you don't want to look back at your time and realize that you haven't really done anything with it aside from getting your degree. So as long as you keep that in mind, you'll definitely have a more positive and fulfilling time at med school. So moving on to point number 3, the content at med school is not hard. Yeah, I said it, the content is not hard. It's just the amount of content there is. It can almost sort of be overwhelming, because I remember when I started, I really sort of struggled with how much I felt like I needed to know. But over time, I did sort of develop strategies of tackling that volume of content, and also just sort of understanding which information was relevant and which information wasn't really needed. And that's something you guys will also develop over time. When you get into med school, I'd say the best thing to do is focus on your time managing skills, and whatever you do, do not fall behind, because you will literally kick yourself in the foot, and you're gonna regret it later down the line. Because I remember doing that myself, and it took me so long to catch up. So do not fall behind, stay on top of your work. So just do a little bit each day, and whatever you do, don't let your work pile up, and you'll be fine. So number 4, I'd say make sure you get to know your peers and your senior medics. So you're gonna be with these people for the next 5, maybe 6 years, so make sure you take the time to get to know these people, and just remember you're in the same boat. So help each other out, share your resources and your study tips. You've all worked just as hard as one another to get into medical school, so the real competition is over. So just don't be that person that treats med school as one big competition. just make sure you help each other out. And just remember, your lecturers won't always be able to help you and reply to your emails, but your fellow students and your seniors will. So make sure you have good relationships with those people. So in first year, when I had my OSCE exam, I remember the senior medics set up a revision session for us, and that was just really sort of nice of them, because they didn't need to do that, but they did it because they wanted to help us guys. And I found that to be so much more helpful than anything I'd covered at medical school, in the clinical skill sessions. So yeah, just remember that your senior medics, they want to help you guys, and just don't be afraid to approach them if you need any help. So moving on to point number 5, and that is to have a strong support network. Medicine is not easy. It is a stressful course, and that can really sort of take a toll on your mental health. There will be times when you feel, drained and sort of almost demotivated, and just know that that's normal, because it's all a part of life. It's really important to have, the people in place that you can speak to, whether that be family, friends, or even a mentor. It's important to just speak to people about these things, to stop it developing into something more sinister. As medical students, we are almost, although we learn about mental illnesses and we know what to look out for, we ourselves are sort of more prone to developing them. There is that almost self-bias where, we're reluctant to sort of identify these things in ourselves. So just make sure that whenever you do note yourself feeling a bit down, or feeling more stressed than usual, then make sure you speak to someone about it, and just don't let it pile up. So I hope that helps you guys. You're always free to message me, to speak about these things or anything else in general. And I hope you guys enjoyed that little video, and I hope it was helpful for you guys that are starting med school, and maybe even for you guys that are already in med school. So yeah, if you liked it, then drop a cheeky like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care.